About 314 million people are visually impaired worldwide. 45 million of them are blind. 87% live in developing countries. Cataract remains the leading cause of blindness globally. 75% of all blindness could be prevented or cured worldwide. Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. Over 1 million people live here. A mix of spirituality, crowds, and busy streets. Over 300,000 tourists are attracted to the beauty of this country every year. But there is a hidden reality that not many know. In developing countries like Nepal, who still is one of the poorest countries on earth, avoidable blindness is a burden that affects many. Kathmandu is also home to the Tilganga Eye Hospital. Not far from the Pashupatina temple on the banks of the Bagmati River, the holiest place for Hinduism. The Tilganga offers its services to more than 900 people every day. If people don't have any money, they will get the service for free. One of the co-founders of the Tilganga Eye Hospital is Dr. Sanduk Ruit, a skilled Nepalese surgeon who grew up in Nepal and who is dedicated to help people blinded due to cataract disease. In the clean room of the Fred Hollows Production Laboratory, 450,000 small intraocular plastic lenses are produced and exported worldwide every year. Today, there's a lot of excitement in the air. A medical team, led by him, is preparing for an outreach surgical camp held high up in the eastern part of Nepal.
I heard about Dr. Ruit. He was the first developing world doctor anywhere who advocated the use of the intraocular lens implants.
Those days, all the surgeries were done with the technology which was available many decades ago. You take the whole lens out, and then give very thick stitches, and then put the patient lying down for a week. Patient cannot move, and afterwards, patients will see a little bit of a hazy image, but they have to put a very thick glasses on, very thick.
And Dr. Ruit's standard of surgery was second to no one in the world. And he was the only one who was saying we need to put the lens implants into every single person. And it was so controversial when he started saying it. Everyone thought he was crazy, it was inappropriate technology, it was too expensive. And he and Fred Hollows came up with the idea of making inexpensive, very high-quality lens implants in Nepal.
Intraocular lenses were manufactured mostly in America and some in Europe. Yeah. But each of intraocular lenses were costing more than $100. And for us to provide that costly things in developing country was next to impossible. Where are you going to get all the lenses from if you're doing this, Then Fred just said, we'll make it here.
Getting ready to begin a 3-day trek to Siwas. We're here waiting for our porters to get organized. We have a huge amount of ophthalmic equipment, technical machinery, all of the medicine supplies, microscopes, surgical instruments needed to create an operating room and give care to the poor people in Siwas, who otherwise would be required to walk more than 3 days to get to the nearest road and then drive 7 hours to the nearest eye hospital.
After almost 1 year of planning and preparations, the medical expedition starts. More than 50 people, including doctors, ophthalmic assistants, technicians, and local porters, start trekking towards the remote village of Siva. Each porter carries a weight of over 30 kilograms. Some of them carry much more. The group advances at a fast pace. They want to reach their destination in 3 days. Normally, this route takes more than 1 week.
I think Siwa took us nearly, I think for us, it took us 4 days. It's like going back in the history and starting over again, walking for 8-9 hours a day, at least 8-9 hours a day continuously to reach a destination, and then take a rest, and getting up early in the morning and starting at 6 again, and then walk for another 9 hours and stopping another place, and then starting again, so this goes on. This is a very remote area. Most of the people have to walk half a day to get drinking water. It's not easy. If you look up in the hills, life is very difficult. People work very hard to have the morning and evening food. Even to agricultural land, it's very tough. The land is filled with a lot of rocks and then the slopes, so they have to work 5 times more than other places.
Every 3 to 4 hours walk, the group stops for a short rest. Already at the first resting station, the doctors meet someone in need.
Cam, there's a blind child. Can you come interpret for me? So he has a corneal scar here, and he needs to have a corneal transplant. This eye also. So this is going to be very hard to reconstruct. We can't do anything for him at the camp. We could maybe try to have him come to Tilganga for a corneal transplant. I feel sad, but I think you have to focus on what you can do rather than what you can't do. There's so much in this world we can't do anything about. The joyous thing about cataract blindness.
20 years ago, nobody came out to rural areas and provided this kind of health care. And Dr. Ruit said that's wrong. He got very angry at his colleagues in the medical community. And he said, it's just not right that people who live in cities get the best care and people who live in areas like this get substandard care. And he decided he was going to devote his life to doing something about it.
To carry heavy loads is part of the Nepali culture. Some of the porters are 16-year-old schoolgirls who join the expedition to earn some pocket money during school holidays. They are strong and fast.
So far, after 1.5 days, cross your finger, everything's going well. Yeah, we're enjoying the weather, we're getting tired, but we're also enjoying.
The second day comes to an end. Dr. Ruit is exhausted and needs a good rest before continuing the journey the following day. The destination is still very far away.
For 4 days, we walked from the time we woke up to basically the time we went to sleep. We went over very difficult terrain. We climbed over mountains to get here. And there aren't that many doctors in the developed world who would make house calls anymore. So compare that to this. We're walking 4 days to make house calls for these people.
After a trek of 4 days, Dr. Ruit and Dr. Taban finally reach the village of Siwa. This is where the team will set up a makeshift operation theater with the help of the local community.
This is the traditional welcome from the Limbu community. Right? Traditional welcome.
While the operation theater is being set up, the patients who have started arriving from the nearby villages receive their first consultation. For the local community, it is a very important event. Something like this does not happen very often. The entire school is sterilized and transformed into a hospital. Everyone has their own task.
Table banasa tha yaha hai. Just a final checking. You can see that these operating microscopes are generally meant portable, and they can be carried out, and they are the ones that we really like. And the table has been built locally, and the table is a little larger in size so that I can do surgery from the side, which gets much better result than doing from the up, And the right eye patients come from here, and the left eye patients come from here. And I'm checking whether I'm comfortable or not. Now the second phase, the most important phase, is once the patients started coming in. If there are a lot of patients coming in, I'll feel very good. And we expect that we will have about 50 cataracts here. And probably could be more, But you can see how difficult for the patients to come here. So every case has to be treated with great respect. Yeah. Nostalgic feeling, and this is the place which really gave me birth, and it's very special to my heart. And this is where my parents grew up, and I spent my very early childhood. This is one passage that I used to do a lot of naughty things with my friends when I was young, very young. And sometimes we used to, there was a little tunnel here, canal. We used to sit on the back of the little yaks, and they used to chase me. And once I just fell down here and broke my left arm. And then, no, not left arm, right arm. And I was given a bamboo splint, you know the bamboo splint? That's sort of a very first aid type of thing, little strips of bamboo, wrap it on a cloth, immobilized for about a month. And I was so naughty that I started using my left hand. And since then I became a lefty, which has become a great help to me now for my surgery. Using both hands.
In a small house close to the camp lives a young girl. Her name is Sangeeta, and she has been affected by cataract since her birth. There are no schools for children with visual impairment up here in these remote regions. Blind people are discriminated against. Unless her sight improves, Sangeeta will not find a husband. No one can use a blind wife here. Dr. Ruit says his way of operating looks like an Indian restaurant with an open kitchen. All operations are shown live on a small TV as they happen. Everyone can see in detail what happens to the eyes of the patients during surgery.
When you start doing the surgery, it becomes a total focus and concentration. For me, and I think also for Dr. Ruit, it's almost like meditation. You're so focused. Every movement is critical to the life of the person, to the life of the eye.
The electricity fails and the lights go out. The camera lights are handed over to help. For Dr. Ruit, a difficult situation.
The electricity's gone out, so Dr. Ruit is completing the case just by torchlight. And he has switched to doing the same technique that I've been using. And he is doing it with simply having the operative field illuminated by 2 flashlights.
Finally, the generator is switched on. The situation normalizes. Dr. Ruit finishes his last surgery.
And there's a beautiful acceptance to a lot of the people here. You know, they just accept. You get old, your hair turns white, your eye turns white, and then you die. And we're breaking that cycle here. And it's a very special thing to be able to come to a place like this with so much need and provide service.
के भयो ह यता हेर त मतिर हेर त हातको रेखाहरु छुँदै जाऊ त हातले या पर हेर सबै देख्छ हो कि मेरो कान कत्रो छ भन् त ह ह कत्रो छ भन् न ह अब त खुसी पुग्यो होला नि त है ह ल All right. अन्धा भएपछि मान्छे चिनेन होला चिन्यो
चिन्दैन
चिनेन
चिन्दैन
पटक्कै चिनेन
अस्ति पोलीमा त आउँदा
अनि मान्छे नचिनिकन कसरी खायो त अनि खाना
छोरीले दियो नि खाँदै
She says for the last 7 years she was not able to identify anybody and she was sitting in a corner in the house and her daughter was feeding her and doing her bathroom work like an animal in the corner, you know, yeah. And her daughter's been looking after her in the family, yeah. पहिला कसको अनुहार हेर्नु मन लागेको छ
छोरीको
छोरीको yeah, I'm asking her
छोरी रातिको
yeah who do you want to see first? And she says she wants to see the face of her daughter and the grandchildren. And her daughter has been looking after her so well. Cool. Ram. She's taking the name of the god, and we are also. Kholo.
And Dr. Tabin know they can count on organizations like the Fred Hollows Foundation and the Himalayan Cataract Project. They support humanitarian missions to cure blindness in the developing countries throughout the world.